is the participation of women important in mediation?
There are a number of reasons why participation of women is very important in peace process. When you're dealing with a situation in a country, women, right now most countries, women are 50% or even more in some countries of the total population. So ignoring them and not involving them in the peace process, you're ignoring a large section of your population, and that is not right. Secondly, what women go through during war times, they're the people who hold families together. They're the people who reach out to supplement whatever humanitarian assistance they get. In the process, they get blown up by landmines. In the process, they get raped. Not only that, women become widows during war times, and consequently, they are catapulted into position of headed households. And when they are head of households, how can you ignore them in a peace process where they've not only been victims, but also the people who strive to make their communities survive? So once peace agreement has been clinched, it is important that implementation takes place, and women are a big section of the population that must get involved in the implementation of agreements. When I talked about victims, who suffers most in sexual violence during war times is the women. Who suffer most in defilement, it's young girls. Who suffer most in times of war, it is children. And all this strong linkage with women. Yeah.
Why do you think it's still so difficult to have women in mediation teams or in implementing peace agreements? Why are there so few women?
First and foremost, the perception is that mediation is high-level diplomacy. And therefore, women are not educated enough, and therefore we ignore these rural women who bear the brunt of wars, who actually can serve as informants, who actually connects people with the communities. And that is why when you look at the percentage of peace processes or peace agreements that have succeeded and failed, most of them, and I'm doing this without any proper study, but based on what I know, have not succeeded in the implementation, because in peace negotiations, men warlords, non-state actors and state actors will only discuss jobs, will discuss economic benefits they're going to get. They're not going to address basic social issues that affect households, that affect communities, like poverty alleviation, food security, education, health issues, which are massive as a result of wars. And women will bring those to the table and not think about themselves. They think about their families, they think about their communities.
Do you have any kind of recipe, any ideas for how we could involve more women globally?
CMI is already doing a great job as far as women are concerned. Seminars, consultations. CMI has commissioned some studies. All these are very helpful. You know, in all this, there's no one size fits all. Every situation comes with different dynamics. The most important thing is what CMI has already initiated as far as women is concerned. That is to learn more, to consult more with women of different classes and who have played different roles in conflict. And out of this, some tools will be developed. But like I said before, flexibility is very important. Already, CMS is taking the right direction by initiating a number of programs that involve women.
You yourself have done some incredible work. walking into the jungle to meet Joseph Kony in Uganda. Do you think it was significant that you were a woman in this process?
Well, in a way, yes, because at the beginning, I was perceived as a woman. The rebels even thought they were insulted that a woman had come in to bring peace. And the people in general just laughed it off. Oh, she's wasting her time. She will either run away or she will be killed, and that will be the end. But the perseverance, the fact that I did not just come out and lecture and say end the war, but actually sat down with them, listened to what they had to say, took a lot of risks, which risk the rebels couldn't believe I would do. The community affected would never believe I would do. But when they realized that I was doing things like that I could go as low as them and sit down, not just sit for an hour, but pitch camp and stay with them, then there was that conviction that, that I meant business. I was serious about it. And that is how the confidence was built, and that is how I could identify the movers and shakers of the war, the people who were going back and forth, and that's how I started reaching out to the rebels to be able to initiate peace talks with them.
And you've said you actually used women to tell you about what was going on.
Absolutely, they gave me information. I used women to demonstrate against the war, to show their frustrations and anger and anxiety. I used them, I brought mothers and wives of ex-rebels, gave them personal letters to guarantee their safety if they could stop fighting. As some of the wives came out, I extracted information from them, which information was very useful for shaping the peace process, for reaching out to the rebels. And not only that, even government, I had to persuade government, because government always was militant. There's going to be military victory, so leave us alone, we'll do it. So it was out of this information that I was able to extract, that I came in and I said, listen, let's give peace talks a chance. If it doesn't work, you will continue with your military adventure.
Weren't you scared in doing all of this work?
It was very scary, there's no doubt about that. But when you're dealing with a situation where children are dropping dead every day because of the squalid camps, they had diarrhea, not enough medication, people were starving to death. That was the first time I came face to face, people dying because there was no food. That was the first time I came face to face that simple ailments like malaria would kill people, and then face to face with people whose body parts, limbs were amputated, nose, lips, ears were mutilated. And so the question was, even if something happened to me that cost me my life, it would have been worthwhile reaching out there to try to pump sense, to bring some sanity to the rebels so that they would stop it. Fear was there. There were times when I was very narrow misses. But at the same time, I reached a point where I felt, if God calls your number, you will go. If he doesn't, you don't go.
And based on all this experience, what advice would you have for future women mediators?
Future women mediators, one thing I can say is that I didn't even know my capacity, my capability to do this thing. Once I got involved, I got my hands and feet dirty. There was no stopping. And it is very, very important that you try. There are very many obstacles, frustrations, but what I always say is never give up, because your determination, that stamina, is the driving force, and that will get you there, and somebody somewhere will listen.
And you've been now at this seminar organized by CMI and the United Nations about gender and inclusive mediation. How has it been?
Oh, it's been wonderful. It's been very enlightening. It's been extremely enriching. I go back, you know, mediation is changing all the time. I said earlier that if I look back in the 90s, when there was not much, when I always quote Secretary of State of United States, Henry Kissinger, whose perception was, well, if the parties are not moving forward, pull them by the balls, then their hearts and souls will follow. Lo and behold, how wrong he was. So we've come a long way. We've learned a lot of things. The reports of the various researchers, the various scenarios, because all these wars are being fought. There's religion in some of them it's just power sharing, some of them is, I dare say, ethnicity. So they all have different dynamics. And so it was a learning process as well. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
How was it, Antero?
Excellent.